Hello and welcome. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of On Air with Allie. Whether you are tuning in live or watching the replay, thank you for being here. For those of you that don't know me, I am Allison. You can call me Allie, and I am a motherhood and family photographer living here in Richmond, Virginia with my husband and our 1-year-old son, Michael. And I am also pregnant, 19 weeks pregnant today. We're due to have another boy. We just recently found that out this past weekend. It's a boy, due in March. So that's a little bit about me. For those of you tuning in that I haven't met yet, I started this weekly Facebook Live series as just really a way to kind of connect with my followers and my clients and just kind of find a new and fun and engaging way to connect with you guys. So I am here every Wednesday. Kind of is difficult to find fun and engaging topics every week, but it's today's episode 7, so it's been a lot of fun so far. I've been toying around some with the different times throughout the day to see when we can kind of get the most participation with people joining us, but so hopefully you're able to either tune in live or watch the replay. But if you have any questions along the way, I would love for you to leave any comments or anything. I think I can see them as soon as they come through. Maybe I need to hit the comments button. So just want to make sure you can hear me and see me. If anyone wouldn't mind just giving me a thumbs up before we get started. I'm sitting out on my back porch today. It is a cool fall day. It actually officially feels like fall now. Broke out the sweater and everything. So looking forward to fire pit season to begin. Okay, good. Thank you for the thumbs up. So we can go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to be giving you kind of a sneak peek on the behind the scenes on what to expect when working with me, particularly as your photographer. But also I have a lot of kind of budding photographers that are following me as well. So this could kind of help you as far as maybe getting a few, a different perspective, if you will, as far as what other photographers do as far as kind of behind the scenes once you book. So as far as my overall client experience was what I wanted to kind of give you a sneak peek into. And I really want my clients to feel appreciated and educated throughout the whole process of working with me. So I kind of have a very detailed workflow that I abide by to make sure I don't miss any steps, because there's a lot of different to-dos when after booking a client that I don't want to make sure I want to make sure I don't miss anything, and that they get the full experience and a great experience in working with me. So again, hopefully this topic is helpful for whether you've recently booked me as your photographer, or if you're a family out there looking to book a photographer, just to kind of give you some insight on how I do things. But again, if you're a photographer yourself and just want a different perspective on what somebody else does with their business. So for the sake of time today, we're going to, and I'm outside, so kids are out of school, you may hear a little bit of craziness in the background. We're going to assume that you've already booked me, or you've already submitted your inquiry form online, and you've signed the electronic contract, and you've submitted your invoice retainer online, so we're officially booked. So as far as, there's a little bit of a workflow for that, but we're just going to, for the sake of time, assume that you've already done those steps so we can kind of move forward. And I'm just going to flip my notes here so we can move forward with the rest of the process. So as I mentioned, I am a motherhood and family photographer, so I offer a variety of different portrait sessions that range from maternity, newborn, milestone mini sessions, but I also offer kind of the family collection, which is kind of your traditional family session outside. So with those variety of sessions, it's essentially the client experience is the same. There are kind of a few tweaks along the way as far as what's offered and different things that we talk about as far as outfit inspiration and everything. But it's essentially the same across the board. So today, again, we're going to assume that you're a client booking a 60-minute family collection session, just because that's, I think, would apply to many people that are watching this. So let's see. So if you see me glancing over here, I'm actually have my laptop in front of me. I have 17 hats pulled up, which if you're a small business owner or a fellow photographer watching, I use 17 hats in my business. I've used it for the last 3 years, I think. It has been a total game changer, which I could do a whole nother Facebook Live episode just talking about 17 hats. But in a nutshell, it's really my all-in-one business baby, if you will. It holds all my email templates, all my contracts, all my questionnaires, all my quotes, all my to-dos and tasks, client information. All of that is housed in there, and it's online, which is great, so I can access it on the go. And I have kind of pre-built workflows in there. So depending on what session you book, whether it's a newborn session or a family session, I just activate the proper workflow for that, and we kind of just roll right into the flow of things. So 17 hats is what I use. And again, I'm just going to be pulling straight out of my client experience workflow here, just to kind of give you an idea of things so we can kind of get started. So again, we're going to assume you've signed the contract, invoice is already done, we're good to go. Next is kind of what I do, a little just behind the scenes as far as updating your address from your contract into my account, 17 hats. So it's always great to have your mailing address and all of those fun things. I will send you a clientele questionnaire, and this is just a quick, maybe less than 10 questions, but it's just basic information for me just to have as information on file. So your information, your home address if I don't have it already, phone number, your spouse or your partner's name and email address, and if you have any kiddos, what their names are, what their ages are. So that kind of just gives me better ammo to kind of prepare for our session, so I know what to expect going into it, if I'm going to be posing or engaging with a 1-year-old versus a 8 or a 10-year-old. So I kind of implement different things into my session when we're there day of, as far as silly things that I'll say or different things to kind of bring out those natural, genuine smiles. So that's always helpful for me to know. Also, I'd like to know about like your home, if there are different places that in your home that you're looking, or rooms in particular that you're looking to have your images on display. That kind of gets you thinking about that project as well. So kind of gets that initial stage started as far as tangible products for your home, which I talk about kind of throughout the process, just because that's such an important piece of it. Because it's one thing to really post these images on Instagram and Facebook, that's great, but if you follow me on Instagram, I showed you I recently got my birth and newborn album of my son. He just turned 1, so better late than ever that I got it. But it just makes such a difference to have that thing sitting on my coffee table to be able to share with family, friends. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So again, that could be a whole nother topic of conversation for us. So after that, so I collect your clientele information. I get that loaded in our system. We will then schedule your session. I will always encourage clients to pick a unique or special location to them, because that always kind of brings more of a comfort level for you guys, but again, also brings those kind of unique and genuine smiles that we want and what you guys want in your images. So we will pick a session, whether it's at a park or anything like that. I've done backyard sessions, but we can really go anywhere. So it's really up to you guys. I do offer a client guide, which I'll talk about a little bit more here in a second. And there's a section in there that's a whole page long of 2 columns listed, really for the Richmond surrounding area, just because that's where I'm from. But to kind of help guide you along the way. There are a few places like Maymont and several different plantation places that offer you to be able to do portrait sessions, but they just require like a $50 or $75 portrait fee. So just to keep that in mind for locations that you're thinking of doing. Once I have that information, I will send you the client guide that I just mentioned. So that has about 30 plus pages, which I talked about briefly in not my last episode, since that was the gender reveal. So the episode before that, episode 5, I talked about portrait prep, and I pulled information straight out of that client guide. So this is going to give you a little more insight about me, talk about my philosophy, what is a shoot and share photographer, which is what I am. Goes into detail about picking a location. We talk about the timing. The best time of day is going to be during either sunrise, which doesn't always happen that often with clients, which I totally get it, and sunset, which is going to be during your golden hour, roughly 1 to 2 hours before sunset is really that sweet spot time for portraits. You don't want to do midday because on a bright sunny day, you're going to be having those harsh shadows and squinting. And back when I started out my photography business, which this could be a whole nother topic, Facebook Live topic, but I thought that, yeah, it'd be great at noon, let's meet at noon, and that wasn't a great idea. The lighting was awful, and again, those harsh shadows and squinting, so, which is why we shoot for later in the day, and obviously with daylight savings time and things like that, that kind of changes up on us a little bit as far as when to schedule that session. So I kind of walk you through all of that. So by now I've gathered your information, we've selected a location and a time, I've sent you your client guide, and now I am going to connect with you more on social media. So if you're on Instagram, I always love to follow my clients and be able to keep up with them that way. And I also have some exclusive Facebook groups that I offer my clients that's totally optional to join if you would like. But I have one called the ASP Family, and that has both moms and dads in there, and that's really just a catch-all group for all my clients that are either on Facebook or that care to be in the group. Again, it's just a kind of a secret group, so it's I don't think anyone can search for it or whatever, but you have to be kind of approved to get in, so kind of a big deal. But this is a great spot for me to reach out to you guys outside of email or whatever, to mention any great announcements or referral incentives or giveaways or contests. When we led up to Michael's arrival, we did a contest on, you know, the weight, the due date, different things like that, where clients have chimed in and they got some giveaways. Either it was a complimentary mini session or canvas or something like that. So, and it's just a great way. I always kind of like to form a connection and a family with all of my clients. So it's kind of a great way to chime in as well and kind of mingle with people in the group. The second group that I have is called the ASP Mommy, and these are just for my moms, my mama tribe, and not really all that different from the main ASP family group, but I do have some things in there that are specific to them and little inspirational things that I'll post in there, articles and different things like that. So, so that's, again, an optional group that's available as well. Once we have finalized the location, I will shoot your session. So roughly a day before or a few days before your session, we'll confirm your time. Wait, actually, I need to back up a little bit. I missed a total different questionnaire in here. Right around the time that I send you the client guide. And again, this is filled with what to expect, location suggestions, outfit inspiration. It's filled with a lot of information. Of course, you can always reach out to me along the way if you have questions. But around that same time, I am sending you, this is a relatively recent questionnaire that I've put together. If you see me glancing over here, by the way, it's because I'm pulling right out of my workflow in 17 Hats, which is a software I use for my business. So I recently started implementing what I call an inspirational exercise that I send to my clients. And this is really just a way to collaborate more with my clients, but also kind of get them thinking and feeling in this in the sense of preparing for their session. So as far as outfits and location and everything, kind of inspiring them in that direction. So I asked them, you know, what is the most valuable things for me to learn about your children? How did your family show affection? Where do you feel most at home? 5 adjectives to describe your family. So again, these are just little things, little tidbit things for me to learn more about you guys. So I can really be sure I kind of capture those genuine moments and capture that love that you guys describe to me. So what else do I mention in here? What's your favorite thing about motherhood and the season in your life right now? So then we break into the section of about the experience. And this is one of my favorite parts about the questionnaire, as exciting as questionnaires can get. But I ask why you decided to have your pictures taken. So if there's any particular milestone or anything like that, what your goals are for your overall session, and really what's most important to you as far as what to capture, as far as location or physical or emotional moments. But one thing that I love that I've recently started asking in here is that I give you a list of maybe 30 words in a chart. And I ask what words most resonate with you most, and to choose 5 of them. And I'm just going to pull the words up really fast so I can make sure I'm saying the right things. But to choose 5 out of, again, 30 words or so I'll just give you a few. But simple, classic, spontaneous, thoughtful, clean, urban, fresh, intimate, emotional, joyful, quiet, honest. So these are just some words to be thinking about, because that can really tailor the whole look and feel of your session. So as far as location, as far as what kind of clothes you're wearing, if you want something more delicate and quiet and honest, then that would be more of like a flowy, light, subtle colors, muted tone colors, like a flowy maxi dress or something like that, versus something more bold, more striking colors, or a blazer or something like that. That would be a little more different than something more of a relaxed shoot. So it kind of gives you an idea on the direction I'm going there. And then I ask about if there's any particular image, one specific image that you feel embodies the way you'd love to see your shoot. So whether it's an image of mine or somebody else's, but not to say that we're going to totally duplicate that image, but it really just kind of gets me feeling, understanding what you're looking for, and that we can kind of make the same spin of your session to make sure you're getting the images that you've invested in and that you want at the end of the day. So that's kind of a quick peek into that questionnaire. Again, it's something that I've kind of implemented recently, and it may take a few minutes and to really think about it, to put some of those answers together, but I think it's beneficial for my clients, but also very beneficial for me, as far as learning more about getting the most out of your experience. So now, leading up to the day that we meet to shoot, I always arrive roughly 10 to 15 minutes early so I can get a feel for the lighting and location, and if it's really crowded, to kind of think about a different area. I'm a Nikon shooter, so my primary camera, for photographers that are watching, I have the D810, and my backup camera that I always bring with me is the D610. And right now I have the 50mm lens on here just because I shot a smash cake session earlier. But I bring a handful of lenses with me to family shoots, and it varies on what lenses I'll bring, if it's a newborn shoot or what have you. So that could be all another topic of discussion on what's in my bag. So we'll shoot your session, which, depending if you got a 30-minute session or a 60-minute, that's how long we'll be there. But obviously I'll be there to make sure, or be there as long as I need to make sure we get everything that we need. And I will head home then, and I will empty all of my memory cards onto this little guy. It is called a My Passport for Mac, because I'm a Mac user. This is a 4 terabyte passport. I also back your images up into my cloud, which is a device that my husband gave me for Christmas one year. You got to keep her when he buys you a whole cloud for Christmas. But I think that thing is like 8 terabytes, and you'd be surprised to know, or maybe not so surprised, that I've almost filled that thing up. But anyway, so they're backed up in several places to make sure that we don't lose anything. And I will get to editing your images and delivering your images. I aim to deliver them within 7 days. I do have a 1-year-old, as I mentioned, so life can get a little crazy every now and then. So if it's a little longer than that, but I aim to, within a week, get those images back to you. And I deliver them via a pass gallery. PASS is an online software that I've used pretty much since day one, since I started my business. And this is an online software that you can download an app on your phone. I'm a shoot and share photographer, which means that you're going to get, all of the keeper images. You're going to get all of those high-res images, logo free, online sent to you, where you can view, download, share, print your images, and you can download that app and take the images with you on the go. So my clients have really enjoyed the experience of their past galleries, and it's very unique and tailored to you. One thing that's great is if you book me, let's say you booked me 3 years ago for something, and you're booking me again this year for something, I'm going to upload the images this year into that same past gallery. It'll just be in a different folder. So I like my clients to kind of have that one-stop shop place to link to all of the different images. You don't have different different links to different galleries, if you will. So it's all in one gallery. I think I have one of my girlfriends who's also a client, but her past gallery, I think the folders are like this long, because we've covered a lot of things together over the years. But so the past gallery is what I use to deliver my images. After that, roughly 2 weeks later, a week to 2 weeks later, I will shoot you one last quick questionnaire that's really just to get a testimonial from you, just so I can learn how your experience was, if there was anything that you would tweak or any comments or feedback that you have. I do have my business on Google, so it's always appreciated if there is if you have time to write a review on there. I encourage my clients to do so. And the last piece of the workflow is that I've recently implemented this into the process. I have a program called Smart Albums, where I will draft up an album for my clients. This is relatively recent that I'm doing this, but I will draft up roughly a 15 spread album that's digital. So these are the images from our recent session, and I will upload it into what's called cloud proofing, which is a program through Smart Albums. And my clients can log in and see their spreads and flip through them, and they can make comments and any revisions or tweaks they would like. They can hit submit and send it straight to me. So that's if they want to move forward with the album process. But there's obviously no what's the word? There's no, you don't have to move forward with purchasing an album, of course, but that's more just to give my clients a better idea on what it's going to look like. Of course, it's just a draft, so we can switch things around and change it up completely, but I send that to them to kind of get the ball rolling and to kind of take the pressure off of them to have to design a whole album by themselves and figure out what companies to use and how to go about doing that whole process. So I try to take the burden off of my clients and do that process on my end and send the draft to you. So that is about it as far as the workflow goes. Again, depending on which session we are working on together, there are a few tweaks along the way, but in a nutshell, that's kind of the same. I try to have a more seamless workflow and client experience kind of across the board. So I hope that was helpful. Whether you recently booked me as your photographer, I'm excited to work with you, or if you're a photographer watching, that hopefully that was helpful to hear kind of a different person's workflow and how I do things. As I always mention, if you have any comments or topic suggestions for a future On Air with Allie topic, I would love to hear from you. I do this every week, so I'm trying to, sometimes I scramble to try to figure out what topic I'm going to talk about. I did want to mention, I do have a handful of fun topics coming up. So what do I have here? I've drafted them in advance. I would love to do, so one of them, decorate with family images. So I'll talk about wall galleries and different things like that, that you can decorate your home with your images. Photo gift ideas, since we'll be going into December. how to preserve those holiday memories. So I'll be talking about Christmas morning and tips on how you can really capture that day where you're not sitting behind the camera the whole time and you can actually be in those images. I can talk about tips for photographing a vacation if you're planning to take any vacation time over the holidays. I would love to eventually do like a Ask Anything Q&A session, and this could be whether personal or business related. But I want to make sure I pick a time that's convenient for everybody where we can kind of get the most participation, because the whole point of Q&A is that there are questions. So I don't want to just be staring at my iPad by myself. So again, I'm kind of playing around with the times. I've done I think a 12 o'clock time. I just did this one at 5 o'clock. And I've done an 8 o'clock one, which I seem to get a lot of participation there just because it's kind of after the getting home from work and getting kids to bed or fed or whatever. So chime in below if there's a particular time that's more better for you on a Wednesday. So would love to have more of you guys on here live. That's always more fun to kind of get that engaging interactive piece to it. So hi, Margaret. So anyway, ideally these Facebook Live sessions, I would like to do them at the same time every Wednesday, just so you guys know what to expect and it's kind of more of a routine every week. My schedule can be a little crazy in the evenings. I have plans this evening, which is why I didn't do in my usual 8 o'clock time. So if you couldn't join live and you're watching the replay, thank you for tuning in anyway. But if you've missed previous episodes, we did our gender reveal this past weekend. That's on there. You can go on my Facebook page, which you're already there. And on the left-hand side, there'll be a tab called Videos, and you can click there, and all of the On Air with Allie episodes are in a playlist already there for you. So feel free to check those out. But as I mentioned, this is a weekly Wednesday Facebook Live series. So this was episode 7, so mark your calendar for next week, and I will see you guys live next Wednesday. Have a great rest of your night and a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Oh, trying to hit finish. Here we go.